The air was filled with phantoms, wandering hither and thither in restless haste and moaning as they went. Every one of them wore chains like Marley's ghost. The misery with them all was clearly that they sought to interfere for good in human matters and had lost the power forever. Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol. A metroidvania based upon the misadventures of Ebenezer Scrooge from Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol is not the kind of game that I would have ever thought would happen, because it's weird, but then I never thought there'd be a Souls-like based around a twisted version of Pinocchio, or a 3D platformer based around a cruel and twisted version of Alice in Wonderland. So what do I know? It's June 2023. It's NextFest. I'm Demajen. I'm really sorry for being a bit croaky. Let's give this a try. Hand animated, clearly. Something has gone horribly wrong. Jacob Marley allowed you to see the invisible world, and only someone... What sort of help could a spirit possibly need from me? Are you familiar with the Malthus family? Why is this going so fast, and what is the point of having a skip button if... Is this tied to frame rate or something? Huh? Casper Malthus. Casper the Friendly Ghost. Oh, now it seems to be. While such cruel machinations have always existed, with the rise of modern industry, some members of the Malthus family felt a new age was soon dawning where the solution could present itself. Driving this new rhetoric was Gaius Malthus. He seized upon the city's industrial expansion and turned their family from mere aristocracy into an empire of industry. His factories swelled with the poor working people of London. The fact that the skip text... Yeah. He offered these workers horrid conditions and little pay in exchange for their backbreaking labour. All the while he planned for a day where he could rid the world of the lot of them. However, cruelty is a flame that burns one's candle twice as fast. Gaius died suddenly, and I dare say we are all of us the better for it. With the death of the Malthus family patriarch, command of their empire fell to Casper Malthus, his only surviving son. Casper was a dear friend from my mortal youth, who I remembered as a happy and joyous boy who loved the world around him. I hoped he would choose to take the Malthus family in a new direction. Interesting art style. Unfortunately, I was wrong. Working conditions worsened and the cruelty of the Malthus family continued. However, I refused to believe that Casper had gone so far down this path that he could not be redeemed. It was 1 year ago tonight, Christmas Eve, that I paid Casper a visit. I appeared before Casper much like Jacob Marley appeared before you, and warned him that the heavy chains forged from his own cruelty would condemn his spirit forever. To avoid this fate, he would need to set himself on a path to redemption. It should come as no surprise to you, Ebenezer, that Casper was also visited by 3 Christmas spirits that night. Each in turn showed him memories of his past, scenes from his present, and events from his potential future, all with the purpose to put him on this better path. But of all the images that Casper was shown that night, it was the ghost of Christmas yet to come that had the most profound effect. Casper was shown a decrepit old man locked in his study and resting on the mountainous deuterides of failed designs and concepts. Refuse littered the floor, creating an extraordinarily unpleasant smell about the place. Casper could feel the vast emptiness within the massive halls of the man's home and knew he had been alone for a long time. Whoever he once was, he now only existed as the architect of some obsessive project. It was then that Casper began to recognise the room, the portraits and books on the wall and the familiar features of the old man's haggard face. He was gazing at a visage of his future self. The ghost of Christmas yet to come hadn't brought Caspar here to simply gaze upon the man he would become, to witness the man's ultimate triumph. Caspar had achieved the Malthus family dream. Whether it was a power source, engine, or some infernal mechanism I cannot say, but I do know it was the catalyst that would sever the workers from society. In the midst of the old man's jubilation, the ghost of Christmas yet to come raised his finger and pointed at this frail future visage, not wanting Caspar to miss a moment of what came next. The old man's cries of exultation would be his last. The moment of excitement after decades of despair and neglect were too much for his worn heart. Caspar watched his future self begin to die before his eyes. Caspar's eye soon withdrew from the old man. He watched instead the device, the culmination of his life's work, his family's dreams, fall from withered hand and shatter on the floor. At that moment, Caspar and his future self both saw that everything they had spent their life pursuing, every sacrifice or cruel and heartless act, will all amount to nothing. They would die alone, unloved, and forgotten. With that, Caspar was returned to his own time in a state that I perceived to mean he had been profoundly changed by the ordeal. I left him then so that he could contemplate what he had just witnessed. I felt confident that he would see the lonely path his life was on and make the changes that would lead him to something. However, what I did not foresee was that there would be another visitor that night, one who did not want to change Malthus's path but to set it in stone. A dark spirit emerged from the shadows and confronted Caspar, laughing at the silly images the Christmas spirits had shown him. Caspar pled to the horrifying intruder that he did not want to meet the same fate that he witnessed this night. The dark spirit smiled and reminded him that he had been shown a possible future, and that need now not transpire. He told Caspar that the Christmas spirits had carelessly presented a new opportunity for the Malthus family. Caspar had been allowed to observe the workings of the old man's future device. With this knowledge, he could recreate it in the present. He was told he could help create the world that his family had always wanted. He need only be strong enough to put aside silly morality plays and take appropriate actions. With that, Caspar turned his back on a better path. Hence, he has almost finished using this unnaturally gained knowledge to bring himself to the precipice of his family's ultimate dream, to crush the poor workers of the city under the gears of industrial progress. Yet despite all of this, I remember my old boyhood friend Caspar, and I bring myself to believe that he is beyond the hope of redemption. Now you know my story. I need a mortal to help my old friend find redemption before he's beyond salvation. Christmas spirits will not come to my aid a second time. It is up to you to find the pieces of Caspar's past, present and future and convince him to choose a better path. It's an awful lot of reading for the start of this. If there is a pathway to redemption for Caspar, it will weave through the people in his life that meant most to him and know him well. Even if you knew Caspar Malthus once as a good man, that was some time ago. How can you be sure that such a person still exists? I confess I am not well informed on the metamorphosis that transpired within him. It is imperative that we unravel how he became the man he is today. Caspar kept a journal in the London Observatory, secreted away from the prying eyes of his father. If that journal is still there, it may help us understand how he drifted so far from how I remember him. I too was once a man that had lost his way. A good friend Jacob Marley helped me see that. I see that you are doing the same for your friend. I'll find his journal. Workers protesting. Guard has been deployed. Okay. Finally, we get to play. That was far too long an introduction. Don't get me wrong. I am an English teacher and a literature major. I have taught A Christmas Carol multiple times, successfully guiding 15 and 16-year-olds through the web of somewhat stodgy, old-fashioned Dickensian language and especially punctuation. I like Dickens. But that introduction was just too long. Nice glass effect there. Oh. I don't know what that's supposed to be because it's very difficult to see in front of the fire. Anyway, we are into the game now. Not entirely sure where we start there. Okay, very basic map. Very difficult to read fonts on the left hand side. Ghost train room, I assume, is our fast travel. Yes, I would very much change the fonts to something a little bit more readable. No, don't get me wrong, I can read it fine, but I'm used to reading weird fonts because, you know, English teacher. But the average player is immediately going to be turned off by that. The artwork is very nice. The animation is good. Fezziwig. How pleasant to see the bright face of my former employer. So Fezziwig's going to provide help. Okay, so here's our guide. Thanks, Fezziwig. Yeah, map is very basic so far. Can't zoom in and out. Stave one. Tiny Tim. Yes, I have changed, and I'm now going to smash everything in my path. Yeah, this looks like a proper cartoon, doesn't it? It's impressive. And to be fair, the actual kind of feeling of the game is good. What on earth? Leslie. The surplus population? That's a nice callback to Dickens. Oh dear. Okay. Right, so the dash is just a backdash, I think. Select attack ghost. That one. Side quests. Ghosts. Equip and press Y to use Navy Man power. Adds critical hit chance 25%. Kill enemies using it. Oh, why is this running at 1080? Is everything now smaller? Has it just zoomed us out more? Jonathan Bedlam Asylum. Turkey! Okay, so we've got usable things. So are ghosts going to be our foes? Ooh. Mugwort. Okay, we're going to have to use a turkey there. And another mugwort. So we just batter these guys into unconscious, I guess. What? Okay, so the map does have some shape to it. I just dislike pure blocky maps. Interesting, those enemies haven't respawned. I feel the jump is a little floaty. Seems to be quite easy to take a lot of damage. Rosemary. Interesting, these are upgrade materials. To upgrade our food? Okay, so we can't swim. Unless, can we use Navy manpower? No, that's not what that does. Take that clock. How do we save game / get health back? You can jump onto ladders. That's nice. Oh, hello. Ah, a save room. Thank you, Fezziwig. Okay, so save rooms have the door to Scrooge's apartment. Because why not? That's awesome. I like that. He uses his cane to hook onto the edge of ledges. I'd argue that this has a similar feel to Curse of the Sea Rats, although combat feels a little bit tighter than that did. Hello? You there, Ebenezer? As if stopped in that place. The Town Whisperer. My request is to ensure that the street lamps can be seen along this route. Okay. So we've got side quests. Fair enough. Hello, tiny child. Buster Bailey. Okay. This is actually quite interestingly done, I've got to say. I mean, it's such a bizarre concept, but I quite like the concept. And the animation's really nice. Right, what are these? These are going to have some purpose at some point. I assume that is Phoebe. Haha. Yes, grapple points for something. Ow. Okay, so they've got really obviously telegraphed attacks. But wait! Aha! Oh, okay. So the little blue lights are going to be balloons. I must get you to safety. One of the other Metroidvania demos that I've played had it had a lot of advertisement. It was advertising itself as a Metroidvania. The problem was the demo has absolutely no Metroidvania elements to it. Oh no, Ebenezer has died. Right, what does the game do as regards map? It keeps it. That is what we like. That is, and should be, how things are done. Interestingly, you bounce. You bounce on those things normally. Does this... Yeah, okay, it does change our position on the room. Sand. Coal. The fact that the dash is only a back dash is a little bit meh. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm sounding unenthused. It's just because I'm not feeling well. I'm actually really enjoying this. I think this is probably, of all the demos that I've played so far today, this is what, the fourth? This is the one I'm liking the most, which is odd because of my critique about the reading at the start, and I think that is a misstep. I think that the start of the game is a bit too slow. I think you should probably have a gameplay section first. The fact that you actually have to press up to pick things up is a little bit awkward. Haha. I do like the fact that oops. I don't think there's any coyote time. Yeah, the fact that you've actually got to notice that the enemy has dropped something and then pick it up. Enemies are interestingly varied so far. You know, you've got the human enemies, and then you've got the spirit enemies as well. Transitions between zones are very wide. Yeah, having to constantly press up, I don't necessarily think is the best. Hello? Jasper's Wandering Bazaar and Food Court. I am Jasper. Food on one page, rare items on another. Enemies have a 10% chance to drop health items. Adds 15% chance to critically strike when using an attack ghost. Increases cane damage. Interesting. So the upgrades are going to require not only cash, but ingredients or materials that we can find. So realistically, you don't want to be spending your cash on your foodstuffs, because you want to be using them for your upgrades. This is very strange, and I'm liking it. I feel like your mileage may vary with the whole Dickens thing. Okay. I don't know how much mileage they're going to be able to get out of this, but I am intrigued to see. I am intrigued to see how far they can push it. And yeah, so I'm going to need 500 coins to get it. Longish term goal? I don't know what that the warbly sound effect is in the background, the ambience. It's a little bit annoying. Bell icon? Fast travel. Fast travel. Okay. Different colour on the map? Yes. Good. Hello. Oops. Ah. Contact damage. Although to be fair, contact damage for an enemy like that that's basically on fire does kind of make sense. Casimir. Casimir needs lavender and rosemary. Sorry, I've just knocked his light out. Oh, okay, off the top of the screen. Yes, this is not what I was expecting, and actually quite enjoyable. Controls are tight. There's a little bit of recovery off the backdash, so it's not kind of infinitely spammable to move around, as sometimes occurs. Is this it? Here it is. Oops. And there's me, 100% used to using backdashes to get around. Is there going to be some kind of achievement? Ow! Was I really low on health? Oh, that's cool. We actually come back through the door. I'm actually going to leave this here and possibly play some more of this some other time, because I'm actually really taken by it. I do feel I applaud the desire to go whole hog with the kind of aesthetic in terms of the font choice. I admire it. I don't think you should. I think you should choose a font that is more readable than this. The text on the left-hand side of the screen highlights my issue perfectly. The font is too thin to be viewed easily on a 4K screen. Maybe it's better at lower resolution, but that shouldn't matter. It's not a very scalable font. If you bumped it up 2 to 3 sizes, yeah, it would be readable, but it's still... I don't think it's a good choice. I think you need a font that is slightly thicker, slightly wider, maybe even slightly rounder. It looks all right in the bold in the top left. It doesn't look great in these area titles. It's just too thin here. It needs, I think, to go with the... Do I have a mouse cursor? I do. It needs to go with this thicker font style throughout, if I'm honest. The map, whilst I'm not necessarily a big fan of squarish maps, some of the rooms are clearly different shapes, so they're doing more with it than I think Ender Lilies did. This all seems very... Looks like we've got a charm system. I'm intrigued by the upgrade system. I like the fact that we've got multiple quests. We've got a bestiary as well. It looks like a lot of effort has been put into this. You know, somebody has clearly thought, you know what? I bloody loved A Christmas Carol. I want to make an entire game that's a sequel to Christmas Carol, where Ebenezer Scrooge is the metroidvania style protagonist who goes around London, kicks ghostly ass, and helps somebody else the way the spirits helped him. It is an out of this world premise. It is so bizarre, and yet I can see myself playing through this and really enjoying it. My only issues are the choice of font, and I feel like the back dash... Well, there's probably going to be an actual dash at some point. Do we actually have a controls menu? No, we've just got vibration controls. Yeah, I think I'm going to play some more of this. Maybe when my voice is a little bit better and I'm not trying to play 24 different metroidvania demos for NextFest, but this has impressed me. I know nothing actually about who's making it or anything. Developed by Orbit Studio. Have they made anything else that I might know? Nope. Nope. They've made nothing that I've ever heard of. So this is a cool surprise. Give this demo a try for yourself. Oh yeah, my one real critique, apart from the font, is that I think the intro is too much reading. I don't think people are going to read that. It's a bit much. I know you've got a game based on the literary works of Charles Dickens, and therefore you'd expect people to have a little bit of patience for reading, but trust me when I say that I know the metroidvania fan base is the word that I'm after. I know the metroidvania fan base, and they don't have any patience. It's gameplay first off. Well done with this, really impressive, just from left field, something completely odd, and worked very nicely indeed. I'll play some more of this and give some more feedback when I have got time and a little bit more of a voice. Onwards to the next demo. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.